3 more weeks, 3 more races. The Integrity Racing League's 2026 season is just around the turn of corner of the playoff picture. Our best drivers have proven themselves time and time again. Just last week, Ethan Lane scored his 10th victory on the season. And right about now, drivers are settling in for their second consecutive short track race here in Richmond, Virginia. Welcome back to coverage live on FTN Broadcasting from the virtual Richmond Raceway. I'm David Kreutz, commentating, producing all of the action for our 200-lap main feature here in Richmond. Race number 21 of the 2026 season, and qualifying is on the way. Currently with the provisional pole position is Cody Smith. So let's take a look downstairs and see what's going on with our top drivers here atop the virtual Richmond Raceway. Sunny skies and empty tracks. Here's a look at Bobby Keith, one of the many who's taking his laps now. Bobby finding himself right now 8th on the board. That's the number 6 Ford Mustang you're looking at, and a little bit of a different look for Bobby Keith. His usual gray Ford Mustang is now black and gray, and the Mustang very well illuminated on the wheel well of the backside of that car. Bobby with a strong run so far. Alex Kim has gone 3rd. Jacob Fife in 2nd. Still many a competitive driver to go who haven't taken their times. Here's one of them, Trevor Trago. Trago having his best individual season, and he's done a great job for his team. He and Brad Patton putting in a lot of work as of late. Trago looking for a victory at a track that has treated him well in seasons past. We have former winners at this venue, including Tom Wetmore. Wetmore kicking off the second half of this season with the win in Atlanta at Echo Park Speedway. And he finds himself back at a track that he has won at twice before. Once last season, his 3rd and final win of the campaign, and once in 2023, both with the Next Gens at different points of the season. He's one to watch, as of course is James Thurston. Thurston's fresh off 2 consecutive second-place finishes. Not the happiest with his performance last night or previous race. He's 2nd right now in qualifying to Cody Smith by just a few thousandths. He'll have to watch his back and see if Ethan Lane chooses to go for a time. Blake Cannon returned to the podium and returned to the field last week in Iowa. He's pretty happy with this track, but hasn't yet gotten a lap with 56 seconds left. He's running out of time. Sam Nieto now at the top of the board. He puts it on top of Smith by 51 thousandths of a second. He's firmly in P1. Nieto doesn't have much else to look through. Blake Cannon not taking a time, nor is Ethan Lane, it appears. DJ Stagner's not set foot on the circuit, but John DeBarro has decided to do so. Now, to this point, DeBarro is locked in. There are a group of drivers, 8 drivers that are already locked in. Make it 9 now, including Alex Kim. But the cutoff battle is tight. We'll talk more about that as the race goes on. John DeBarro has nothing to worry about today, but he will be the final driver to put down a time. The 61 comes across the stripe for John DeBarro. That's good for 10th place. He'll get up into the top 10, but he is no match for Sam Nieto. Nieto, top of the board from the Richmond Raceway, and he holds keys to the kingdom as he will set things off first and foremost. 5 minutes left of practice remaining as Nieto goes to the top of the board. Sam is still looking for his maiden victory on the season. He's been fast, but in the Integrity Octane Series, now, as we know, at the Integrity Racing League, he hasn't seen a win in several seasons. Quite a shock for a driver who is, as it stands, locked into the championship fight. He doesn't have to worry about today. His only goal, of course, is to go after the checkered flag and finally take home a victory. As it stands, Sam is 8th in points with 1 previous pole position on the year. Now, this is his 2nd. He has himself up at the head of the pack. James Thurston taking a qualifying lap, and there's some discussion about that one. He was looking for the preferred pit stall by taking a qualifying line. Matthew Cornell, 17th on his return. We saw him last week in Iowa. He's once again with the field. There's Josh Gallagher there. And Blake Cannon Cannon is one of the best at this style of racetrack. Hard to explain what this style of racetrack really is, but Iowa and Richmond are the two most similar tracks to each other in the country, relative from one another. They're both less than a mile, more than a half mile, and while Richmond is the smaller of the two, it's all about the banking on the front straightaway and that similar curvature that allows drivers to go momentum heavy all throughout the lap. Got a total of 29 drivers who'll be racing with us tonight, so why not introduce the field from top to bottom? And it is a starting grid with notables from end to end. Here's a look at your front row and the top 6 on the board. Led off tonight by Sam Nieto. Sam will grab the top position inside of row number 1 with a 21.27 second lap. That'll be good for the pole. His second of the year, driver number 2. Cody Smith will then go second with James Thurston third. Tom Wetmore, a two-time former winner here in fourth, and P5 being Jacob Fife. Alex Kim, the Daytona winner, starts today in the 6th position with a 21.4 second lap, and not too far behind him will be Nicholas Ward, who wraps up the top 5. Well, he's a little bit further back on that. 2 positions he drops in the final seconds. He goes down to 7th. Zach Schrinkenall, P8, and Bobby Keith, 9th place. John DeBarro is in a very tight fight for second in the regular season points. As it stands, the last 2 races have not gone his way, and he has fallen back to third. He's looking to recover tonight as he qualifies well in 10th. Joey Yates goes 11th, and Robert Richardson wraps up the top dozen. 13th place on the board is David Davis. Davis is 12 points above the cut line. Eric McFarland will start today just beside him in 14th, and Ryan Potter goes P15. Austin Cardoons is 16th, Matthew Cornell 17th, and Josh Gallagher in the 96th takes the 18th position with Trevor Trago, driver the 37th, one of the few drivers who has himself still not locked in. He's there in 19th. Brock Potter goes 20th. Eli Cars is 21st, and Ethan Lane is the first driver not to take a lap today. Both he and Blake Cannon choosing not to. He will start today in the 22nd position. Don Stevenson goes 23rd, Blake Cannon 24th, DJ Stagner 25th, and Brad Patton 26th place. The final drivers on the starting grid include Kevin Matson, number 50, Randy Fiash in the number 55, and 29th place driver of the number 70, Kent Wetherell. 14 filled rows, Kent at the back of the field, and 29 drivers looking to take on the virtual Richmond Raceway. At the top of the board of them all, it's Sam Nieto, and that is your starting grid for round 21. Now, as it stands, Sam is on the circuit. As you take a look downstairs, he's not doing much of anything. He finds himself parked right now. However, Cody Smith is taking a lap across the 0.75 mile racetrack. And here's a look as we take a ride with Cody Smith on board for just a lap here before the session ends. Just a look on board there with Cody Smith, and that's your second quickest driver in the qualifying lineup. He's fast, he's been consistent, and he is battle-tested already at a venue like this. He'll be starting just alongside your pole sitter, and Sam Nieto, as a matter of fact. Speaking of that pole sitter, he's lined up already, and there he is. Driver of the number 2, Nieto, second pole, looking to keep those expectations realistic. Start where you finished. And for him, that would be that first win he's been long anticipating this season. Track conditions from Richmond Raceway are going to be favorable to the driver all night long. It begins at 83 degrees Fahrenheit right now, but temperatures are expected to dip under 80 degrees in the air tonight. Track temp is 84 degrees Fahrenheit, expected to stay around that range from beginning to end. Conditions are favorable for drivers, but that doesn't mean they don't have to be careful. We only have 3 extra tire sets given to these guys from start to finish. So they start one set. They have 200 laps to make 4 sets in total work out. So they could go for pit stop every 50 laps. Very likely we see pit stop cycles every 60 to 70 laps based on what we saw at Iowa. Iowa was our first green flag, flag-to-flag race of the season at an oval. And that's a track where we've seen it happen before. Richmond being so similar, it may well just happen again. Smaller field here tonight by just a few drivers as well, so if we take any of those lessons, it's about the same length in mileage. This race is 150 miles. Iowa was 153. Just about. By all means, it's the most similar race to last week on the entire schedule. Fun to put these drivers back-to-back in a test like this. James Thurston, his racing rivals intentionally choosing not to take a qualifying spot, and a little bit of a challenge to themselves. Lane is back here, and the 84 in 22nd. Blake Hannon is 24th. They'll have to work their way through, while Thurston gets the preferential pit lane that he wants. His pit stall will be up at the head of the field, and it will be closer to pit road. Sam Nieto and Cody Smith, they were close to the front of the field last week, but they were never in the leading conversation. Now, just 7 days later, at Richmond, it's their time, it's their front row, and it's an opportunity to take this win. 3 races left in the regular season, a lot of untied knots. Time to figure out who's the best at the action track in Virginia. Welcome back to Richmond. We are green. Sam Nieto leads the opening lap. Thurston is as quick as possible to get the lead, but Sam Nieto will not leave him uncontested. Through the first lap, 2 drivers go 1 lap down. One of them, starting from pit road, is Don Stevenson. It appears he's got company in DJ Stagner and vice versa as it stands. Nevertheless, Thurston gets the jump, and while he's not championship eligible, he's going after every win he can get. Sam Nieto finding his way through right now. Gets it in second. Cody Smith drops back to third. Tom Wetmore is inside the top 5 and early. Finds himself toe-to-toe with Jacob Fife. On the cut line tonight are 2 notables, Brock Potter and Joe Yakes. Brock right now runs in 22nd. Joe Yakes, however, is 10 positions ahead of him in 12th. Right now, the 87 holds the keys to the kingdom, being ahead by that many positions. However, to this point, Brock Potter has held claim to the tiebreaker, so Yakes cannot afford to end up tied with him at the end of the regular season. Started off well tonight, but most likely if he's going to solidify that tiebreak, he'll need some stage points, something that he can't get from 12th place, although he is closer to doing so than his rival in Brock Potter. That's something to keep out for all night long. Those 2 drivers are close to each other. And add to that an element of surprise. You got Brad Patton, who was 8 points under that cut line, and Bobby Keith. Bobby qualified 9th, runs 11th, and is ahead of Joe Yakes and Brad Patton, and as well, we talked about him, Brock Potter. So Bobby Keith in the bubble battle has gotten off the best of anyone so far, And not too far behind is Eric McFarland, 19th. He is 12 points under. That's the playoff picture we're looking at right now, and we'll show you on your screens here at home. These drivers are tight knit. You got a few drivers who are locked in. You got a total right now, as we mentioned, of 8 winners locked in so long as they have themselves up in points there and they've made the minimum amount of starts. Alex Kim is in jeopardy because he still needs to make some starts to lock himself in firmly, as does Brad Patton. But for the time being, these are the drivers that are in the fight. Lane, Tarbuck, DeBarro, Bean, Fife, Ward, and Nieto, all of which have gotten themselves through to being locked in, and there's still a scramble further on back. James Thurston, quarter of a second lead over Sam Nieto, and that qualifying position a big advantage. Blake Cannon has already gotten up now to 15th, goes way high, but he's been outdone. Ethan Lane, 13th, looking on 12th. Of course, leave it to Ethan Lane to find a way to outdo any driver in this field. Perhaps that is his best ability. The 10-time race winner has done it again and again so far this season, and he's gotten red hot once more, while James Thurston has been able to stamp out 6 wins since April. Lane has been able to answer back almost in tune every time, and he's won the last 2 consecutive races, the first of which coming at Indianapolis, and last week, of course, at Iowa. And Iowa was dominance. Only 5 drivers finished on the lead lap. The week before in Indianapolis, he led 75 of 80 laps. He was rock solid, of course, at both circuits. And right now, he's having to make his way up through the field, something he hasn't had to do as of late. James Thurston's getting all the time he needs to settle in a front. I don't think James Thurston's ever a fan of having a race handed to him easily, but he definitely has been dissatisfied with the racing package the Next Gen provides at these short tracks. Something he expressed at length last week, but he mentioned the antidote, he mentioned the cure, and as it stands, he is going for exactly that, leading early and getting away. Clean air is a killer if you don't have it. It's a lifesaver if you do. Thurston, understanding that, has been able to make 10th after 10th up for fear that tires won't really matter that much, even if you have better ones in the long run. Wetmore has fallen behind DJ Stagner. He's got his teammate Nicholas Ward right there. Blake Cannon is trying to get in the top 10 party. He can make it 3 of the Roadhouse Racing guys, if so. Ethan Lane looking for 9th now. He's 3.5 seconds away from James Thurston. And side by side with Robert Richardson. Pretty easily he'll make that pass. From 22nd on the grid, Ethan Lane is now up 13 positions. A remarkable charge early. For Lane, I don't know if the goal is to lead by the end of this first cycle. Something that, in theory, he could do if he picks up the pace just a little bit. Or if instead the goal is just to get himself in position for the next one. We're already close to 20 laps into this first run, and the estimation is it's going to be a 3-stint day with 2 pit stops. You'll see drivers coming in anywhere from lap 65 to 75, and again from about 140 to 150. Maybe a little bit earlier, 130 to 140, and then that will move drivers to the end of the race in about a 60-lap showdown. That's one way that these drivers could break it apart, but very likely the 60 to 70-lap guideline will be followed just to make sure drivers have tire and fuel. Fuel is one consideration. If these drivers were at Daytona in a 150-mile race, in theory, you could do it on one stop. However, tire wear is such a big deal at this track that you can't do that. Already, lap times are more than a second per lap slower what they were in qualifying conditions, something that is impossible to concede, or rather not give up, not concede, Even if you're James Thurston, looking at his lap data, his fastest lap was a 21.403 he put down early in the going. That was in the race. That would have been good to qualify in 6th. Right now, he's running a 22.5, a 22.4, 22.5 every lap. That time around was a 22.527, so he is notably slower. And add to that the fact that these drivers are only going to get slower, really not going to help him that much. Ethan Lane, by the way, has cut a half second into Thurston's lead over the last 5 laps and is continuing to make it through. What can you say about Ethan Lane that hasn't been said already? Well, for starters, there's no guarantee he wins this one. He has gotten significantly closer to the front of the field. And perhaps that's the biggest shock of all, how close he's gotten. Not only gotten there by the numbers, but by time. Less than 3 seconds from James Thurston. Now, to start this race, he was all the way back in 22nd, and your 22nd place driver currently is Josh Gallagher. Gallagher is currently running 12.8 seconds behind Thurston. That gap is expanding. Lane has taken himself from the bottom and worked it up front, and he still appears to be faster than everyone else that we've seen, so he is clearly the class of the field. John Navarro and Alex Kim in a bit of a battle. DeBarro now feeling the pressure as Kim maybe not afraid to put a nudge there. DeBarro skates away on that lap. Fast enough to break through, but another battle. Blake Cannon to the inside on Zach Schrintenel. Cannon getting it down there. Still hasn't cleared, but he's door to door. He'll have enough room on the inside to go low and surge into the corner once again. Coming out of turn 4. Blake Cannon and Schrintenel are still close to side by side exactly. Cannon is idled out at about 12th place in this run, while Lane has continued his impossible ascent. Although I do think that Cannon has reason to assume he'll be a top 3 contender all race long. He's made up a lot of spots in this run, so don't think because Ethan Lane is still going, it doesn't mean Cannon hasn't done great work yet. He's come from 24th and gotten himself north of 10 spots up. Lane is trying to do the otherworldly, get to that lead immediately. Cannon might be able to space himself out and still get to the top class of the field with a little bit more patience. And perhaps it takes a lot more of that long race pace for him to do so, but we saw in Iowa, he avoided the fate of going 1 lap down, something all but 5 drivers couldn't say for themselves. Ethan Lane is now 4th. A double pass on Tom Wetmore and Jacob Fife. Wetmore passes Fife, so doubly so. Jacob Fife is behind and now out of the top 5. Next target is pole sitter Sam Nieto on the early quest for the race lead. Cody Smith has not yet lost James Thurston, and vice versa. Thurston has not yet lost the field in Cody Smith. Gap has been held to a steady 7 or 8 tenths of a second at the absolute most. Not particularly a surprise to see Cody Smith up here running second. At tracks a mile or less, we've seen Smith with victories at venues like Phoenix before. And Richmond, while we always talk about comparing it to Iowa, does have some similarities with Phoenix as well. Banking that is under 25 degrees. Subtle but quick, momentum-heavy circuit. And absolutely not a traditional intermediate or short track. And it's at these non-traditional venues that Cody Smith really does shine, so not a shock that he has himself up here in the podium, still chasing after Thurston. Here's a look at the man everyone's focusing on for the lead. That, of course, is Ethan Lane. He's still sneaking up, and we have a sneaking suspicion he'll do more, but here's a look between teammates Nicholas Ward and Tom Wetmore. It was the drama of Richmond last fall where Blake Cannon and Tom Wetmore did their best impression of total team control on the final restart. And while for Cannon it ended up being a non-podium finish, their teamwork got Wetmore around further into the playoffs and his last win of the 2025 season. Wetmore broke the drought just a few weeks ago, but it appears right now he may be outclassed by the 97. Ward will go low, and it's side by side between teammates. 37 laps in at 200. Nightlights are set to come on at the virtual Richmond Raceway anytime soon. Sun due to fully set as ambient temperatures slightly decrease. Track temperature as it stands is 95 degrees Fahrenheit, up close to and more than now 10 degrees. When this race began, Robert Richardson falls back. Joey Yakes having himself 13th, Bobby Keith 14th, and Trevor Trago P15, with Brad Patton, David Davis 16th and 17th. Remember, Davis, Patton, both drivers on the cut line, racing after Bobby Keith and Joe Yakes, who are all on that line, on it or within 12 points of it, including Eric McFarland, who has fallen back now to 20th. The cut line is still stacked. Alex Kim technically is locked in, but he still needs to make a few starts to confirm that he really is on the bubble. They can get into the playoffs. Thurston leads. Lane is now in third, got by Sam Nieto pretty easily. No contest over there. John DeBarro now gets by Tom Wetmore. Wetmore is starting to struggle a little bit on his long run. Something we've seen from him before, particularly in his 2023 win, in which his tires were so shot by the time drivers went down to pit road, he ended up wrecking on pit road and being the cause of a caution. He was able to overcome that, of course, and win the race. But the shock value of seeing one of the best drivers on the day fall out with tire troubles and wreck, only to come back second to none. Alex Kim now passed by Zach Schrintenel. Zach gets up into the top 10, and Robert Richardson have a day number 5. He's getting even closer here. Bobby Keith is passed now by Joe Yakes. Trevor Trago and Brad Patton, the wanted goons, together. Teammates 15th and 16th respectively for Patton. These positions mean a little more, but we're not seeing any team control games. Trago is holding position. Doesn't seem interested in falling back intentionally, nor do I think Brad Patton wants that. Ethan Lane is still third. Now, actually, make that second. He's gotten by Cody Smith while James Thurston gets up to lap traffic. Take a ride on board with Lane here. He is within striking distance of James Thurston. Remember, Lane started at the back of the field. Thurston started in third. The difference between them in qualifying position was 19 places. Here's a lap on board with Ethan Lane. Little bit of a trap there for Lane, as he can't find his way around Eli Cars in the 82, and Randy Fiash as well. Difficult, but not impossible for driver number 84, and he is still right there on James Thurston. A little bit of a breather for the 3 team, but what do you do now? He has made it up all these positions, and really what matters is how close he is in terms of timing. Going down to pit road, these guys are going to be together again, and they're going to fight each other very closely off the line once more. I don't know what to expect if you are number 3 machine. The only advantage he's going to have is what he got from qualifying, which was taking that pit lane stall up at the head of the field. But is that going to be enough to really make a difference against Lane? That still begs to be asked. And we'll see if that comes to be over the course of this race. Right now, it seems like all the advantage that Thurston's had has been dwindled away. And it just comes to the fact that Lane has been that good making up time. He now sits a half second back, while Trevor Trago is sitting on the back bumper of Joe Yanks. On top of the number 37 car, Yanks pulls high. Gonna let the track tow him right through. Can't do much with regards to making a pass or anything, but he's gonna set himself up to give Brad Patton a go. That's teamwork there. Whether intentional or not, the Wanted Goons are racing with respect, and that's going to give Brad Patton the opportunity to get a shot at one of his bubble battlers. These drivers are fighting for a playoff spot directly. Every moment matters between them a lot more than some others with other miscellaneous drivers. Ethan Lane will get to the inside of 23rd place, Kevin Matz. The cut line for the lead lap is now Matthew Cornell. Cornell is running into turn 1 while James Thurston is doing the same. That is how close it gets. Across the line, 53 laps in. James Thurston and Ethan Lane, the first and second place drivers, are separate by some 0.6. Cody Smith now is about a second back on leader James Thurston. He is 0.6 back on Lane, and it looks like Ethan, for all the advantage he's had in clawing his way up, is just starting to stall out. Just a little bit. By no means has he fallen back any major way, but it looks like the rotor is glowing. He's a little bit wore out from all the work he's done to try to catch up. For the first time all throughout this race, Ethan Lane is not as quick as James Thurston. 55 laps, a 55 lap run, and best yet, pit road is going to be open within the next 10 to 15 laps. I would still say the advantage is with Lane, but James Thurston avoided the first big monster of his day. Not Dover Raceway by any means, but he's got troubles that are big. Lane is right on him, and we haven't even spoken about Blake Cannon getting up to 5th within 2 seconds of leader Thurston. Cannon has decided to take it the easy way out, but the easy way out doesn't make it any less difficult what he's doing. Again, he is 24th up to 5th, and if he gets by Sam Nieto before pit road becomes a big deal, then he will have the same net gain that we've seen out of Ethan Lane. That's how close they are. Without a doubt, Cannon having as good a run as it can get, short of being Ethan Lane. I mean, he's only a few spots back now. He's getting run up the track there by Brock Potter. Remember, one of the bubble drivers is Potter. So he's got a lot to race for. Nieto's got to understand that, as does Blake Cannon. But here comes the 44. This is going to be for P4 to level the playing field. Net gains the exact same between Lane and Cannon. "60 laps in, we're going to start watching when drivers go down to pit road. To our understanding, it's already happening with some of the guys in the back of the field. Potter, Stagner, and perhaps the most notable of which, Tom Wetmore is coming to pit road right now, and he is diving for his first stop of the day. Wetmore drops into stall number 4, and that's a 59-lap run for him. As a matter of fact, this is his second time through, so he's got a little bit of trouble as he gets back out again. Tom Wetmore returns to the track. He's one of the few up front who have gone in for at least a stop. Wetmore is going to be mired back a lap down. James Thurston and the rest of the top 10 have not gone in yet. The magic number is, I would say, 65. 65 to 66. That's when drivers are going to come in for this first stop at the earliest. And they will be good to go if they just keep that pace for the rest of the night. Still pretty empty. Quiet on the pit road front, so we'll switch back to looking at those numbers. James Thurston has gotten away by more than a second now in Ethan Lane. Take a look at who's here. Blake Cannon is coming up on Lane, and it looks like the late stage speed is something this man has in spades and perhaps has more than anyone else. Remember 30 laps ago, Lane was gaining on Thurston. Now it appears with patience, Cannon, not only the fastest man on the racetrack, but is gaining notably on your leader. This is one of those things that you might not expect to see from drivers who started 22nd and 24th, but given their own reputations on the sim, which precede most drivers anyway, it's not much a shock. And here comes the biggest shock, maybe. Cannon's right back on Lane. If there's any shock, that's the shock. To the inside, Blake Cannon low on Lane. And it looks like the 84 has some scuffing on the right side to deal with as well. Blake Cannon is now looking to get James. Top 3 have found themselves again. And what a top 3 it is. For the first time, all 3 of those drivers getting to race each other last week. They sat on the podium in a different order last week. As a matter of fact, all 3 of them in different positions. But Lane just fell out of the podium. Cody Smith up to 3rd. So a difficult end to an otherwise fantastic run for Ethan Lane. And it looks like if someone's going to call the shot early to pit road, it's got to be him. And he will make that call. Lane down in. The 84 drops in, and he'll be the first with a firm undercut at lap 68 relative to his competitors. That is huge. Tom Wetmore, remember, went in, as did Brock Potter. But that leaves Thurston and Cannon out. It looks like the best driver over 20 laps was Thurston. The best over 40 was Lane. And the best over 60 has been Cannon. Interesting to note that they all have different strengths when they've been going against each other. Neither of your top 2 have decided to go in. Thurston will duck it, as does Blake Cannon. Lane is now getting back out and on his way. And he'll be side by side with Trevor Trago. James Thurston, Blake Cannon, Cody Smith. Top 5 as Brad Patton's now on pit road. Alex Kim has come as well, as has Nicholas Ward. So a greater bundle of drivers making their move in. There's Ward in the 97. Zach Schrintenel still on the circuit, just got passed by Bobby Keith. Jacob Fife, going to be one of the guys on his way. Still looking for the notables up and ahead. Thurston deciding to go a little bit longer. Maybe going to get a longer first stint. Try to stretch himself out So he has a little more room to work with on the last run. Not sure exactly what the call is going to be. This gives him the room if he wants to go for a yellow flag. Caution is out. First one of the month. Yellow flag flies 74 laps in. And we've got some trouble, perhaps unexpected, given how the race has gone to this point. Here's a look. Try to figure out what exactly caused it. We'll take it a lap back. Get a view on what exactly would have been the incident as the field strings out over the course. Green flag racing. .75 laps in at 200. Taking a look at Kevin Matz right now. He's dropped quite a few positions since this point. Yellow flag flying. It looks like all was well for him at the time of caution. Ethan Lane was running through. Yellow flag came out, so 75 laps in at 200. First yellow flag in several races here. Taking a full track survey, you'll see everyone looking pretty good and as if they've gotten away from anything. Field will get itself settled in. Taking a look at anyone on pit road to see if there's damage. There's Eric McFarland, one of the drivers to look out for. Jay Stagner getting back on his way. There's Kent Weatherow, the iRacing pace car. And Randy Fiash, due to be the lucky dog. 2 laps down, he will get himself a lap back. And we will be heading 1 to green shortly. First caution of the night. Fiash getting on his way. Could extend the caution briefly to give these lappers a little bit more time to get back out there. Eli Cars and Ryan Potter among those, not to mention Fife, Potter, Ward, and Brad Patton with them. .77 laps in at 200. It'll be James Thurston. B-roll green again. Thurston, Hannon, and as it stands, 19 drivers on the lead lap. Ethan Lane is 14th and will have to do what he's done best so far. He's going to have to go for the back of the field up. Blake Cannon was the best over that long run. And this yellow flag coming right at the time. The green flag pit cycle. Still 1 stop expected left out of the field. You'll see most drivers have gone in, gotten themselves an extra set. Whether it is of tire or fuel, we'll see who's got the edge as they come to the restart zone. Lights out, and Thurston has control for the first time in the nighttime at Richmond. James Thurston brings the field up to green for your first restart of the night. Cannon, Nieto, Smith, Chase. It's double file further back. Watch out for Lane. He drops to 14th on this restart. James Thurston gets the lead he had basically off the initial start. That caution doesn't throw much a wrench into the strategy except for the bundle of drivers in the back of the field who are now a lap down. That includes Matz, DJ Stagner, Matthew Cornell, Kent Wetherell, Ryan Potter, Austin Cardules, and Eli Carr's Randy Fiash too. These drivers are still on the circuit, but they're not on the lead lap. So the question now is, how are they going to get back up there? It's not a race so far where most of the field is off the lead lap, but things happen. And oftentimes we see incidents. Iowa, perhaps just an anomaly of anomalies, but the majority of the race is still to be run. We're still expecting to see a lot of green flag action. Right now, James Thurston has himself in control of it, and I bet he's pretty excited to see that he doesn't have to fend off Lane, at least directly. He's outsourcing that work to other drivers. But Lane fell in hard times in the final few laps of that first run. And so, wondering what he can do to get it back up there. 13th, he's already gained a spot so far. But I can't imagine that he is at least 100%. Or should I say, I can't imagine he is 100%, given what we saw. He had a little bit of damage in that car. And small, almost impossible to notice issues can arise from the most minuscule of damage. We'll see what Lane can do. .85 laps in, Lane getting to the inside of Eric McFarland. McFarland is on the lead lap. Let's talk about that. Of the bubble drivers, who amongst them are on the lead lap? Right now, I can tell you this much, it is not everyone, and that's huge. On the bubble, Alex Kim is the last driver on the lead lap. He's locked, he just needs to make a few starts. David Davis on the lead lap in 11th. Brock Potter, well, you look at him, he finds himself right now just barely on the lead lap, and that has him ahead of two others. Joe Yates is in the top 10, running in 9th on the lead lap, so he's doing great. Bobby Keith is, as a matter of fact, just a spot ahead of him. This is a big battle because they're 8th and 9th, and they are only 8 points apart from each other. Then there's Brad Patton, and Patton right now, talk about that number 9 machine, he's running 17th. A few other drivers are not fully in the fight, or we haven't mentioned before, like Kevin Matz, who's 23 points down. He is off the lead lap, as is Ryan Potter and Randy Fiash. Currently, got a few of these drivers, a majority that are closest to the bubble on lead lap, but a few others just fall out. Bobby Keith and Joe Yates, again, is a battle to keep an eye on. 8 points between them, one position right now on the racetrack. Bobby holds his own. Joe Yates has been trying to get there, hasn't been able to lay the chrome horn or much of anything. Oh, we have a little bit of a scuffle from James Thurston. Yellow flag is out. He and Cannon go around. Take a look at this. Caution number 2. Thurston gets in there once, twice, knocks Cannon. No damage for either driver. Cannon definitely getting the worst of it. But he should be able to get away scot-free other than the tire. But, man, Thurston laid into him. Cannon definitely collects a small hit. And I got to wonder, is there a little bit of history between these two? So, take it back. And we're rewinding the laps. See a point of passing. Here it is. Cannon, when he got the lead, got it to the inside. Side by side. Didn't quite have to shut the door. But you'll see Cannon swift on his blocks back and forth, and I don't think Thurston was pretty happy with that. So now they'll go down to pit road for the second stop of the day. John DeBarro stays out, as does Sam Nieto and Cody Smith. Zach Schrintenol and the like. And Ethan Lane decides to stay out. Gets him into the top 10 on some of the oldest rubber now in the top 10. And James Thurston is given an end-of-line penalty as a result of that one. Cannon side by side now with the 3. And he'll pull right off from there. Previously, it was Lane with the disadvantage. Looks like his older tire is evidence of why. But he's got the track position. Now Thurston's got to fight for it, and he has not made it any easier, having gotten himself into that fight with Cannon. Cannon, lucky to get away with minimal damage. I know he is certainly frustrated with the 3 team. We'll see how it plays out as we are 1 to green, probably getting a 1-lap extension just to sort out the lappers. John DeBarro for the first time tonight. He is the race leader since he started on the pole. He has not led a lap so far on the green today. Thurston took it from him a little bit too early. Or Sam Nieto, shall we say, started it up in front. DeBarro now in 10th, looking for his first laps under green lead. He wants to be second to the championship. This is how he gets there. Green flags out. Lap number 96 coming up next, and DeBarro soars into the opening corners. Nobody's even close. Sam Nieto again, bested by Cody Smith off the launch. Cody Smith to the inside. Sam Nieto. But only for so long. Smith not able to hang on to the pass he was able to get. That's going to give Trevor Trago a shot to get to the inside and take himself to the podium. John DeBarro leads by more than a second. What a start for him. Ethan Lane is now making his way through the mess. Several spots up on Blake Cannon. And Cannon has not yet lost Thurston. Thurston not starting particularly close to him, but position-wise, they aren't far apart. Tom Wetmore, 8th place here, running right behind Ethan Lane. Lane is on tires that he got at lap number 69, which aren't particularly old, but at the same time here, they're 30 laps of rubber. A lot of drivers have only been on it for 10 to 15 laps. '99 out of 200. Sam Nieto just needs to come around one more time and he'll collect himself some big stage points, as will John DeBarro. And perhaps for DeBarro, it's the most important. Nick Tarbuck, driver we mention all the time, well, he has no points to collect today if he's going to be bested by John DeBarro. Stage win for the number 61 team. Nieto comes through second half. Here we come. Now, Trevor Trago finds himself 4th place. Tom Wetmore, P5. Teammate nowhere near, or at least the 44 is not. But he does have Nicholas Ward right there in the fight. Ethan Lane will get through. That's for 6th. Eyeing Trevor Trago in 5th. One more pit stop under green is still likely, even though we've seen multiple pit stops under caution. Here comes Brad Patton in the 11th. Remember, he's just under the cut line. Every position counts, and the 2 drivers ahead of him, he is fighting to get playoff spots from. Both Bobby Keith and Joe Yakes are within 10 points of where Brad Patton lies. So for him, this is huge. Playoff picture on your screen right now. Driver number 9, Brad Patton, finds himself 8 points down to the bubble, tied with Bobby Keith, the man he just got side by side with. And as he goes toward Joe Yakes, that's the driver he's only 8 points behind. Bobby Keith now out of his frame, as a matter of fact. To the inside, here comes Patton on Yakes. Thurston just got by Blake Cannon. Here comes the most interesting fight in the field. And a spark igniting over that last caution. Now, let's see where that spark takes us. Cannon not yet able to catch up to Thurston on this stretch, but he has proven to be the best of the very long term. So maybe his immediate goal isn't to get there yet. Thurston heads up high. He's gotten through Jacob Fife. Gonna swing down low. Get one from Joe Yakes. Brad Patton might be next up on the menu, but in the meanwhile, Ethan Lane is still top 5 running. Now, he hasn't made any gains on John DeBarro. DeBarro, for the first time all night, is running free, and just when we thought Sam Nieto would be able to lead some laps, well, he has found another driver that he needs to get by. Tom Wetmore, two-time winner here already. Third place as it stands. I think he's already thinking, why not make it 3? Down low, Wetmore takes a spot. John DeBarro, better watch out. One of the best at this track in this series is again right where he wants to be. .91 remaining, and Tom Wetmore is all eyes on John DeBarro. Take a look at the defensive effort. The podium has gotten away from the rest of the field. It's a different looking podium than the big 3 we saw in Iowa. And for all 3 of them, one way or another, they've seen trouble. For Lane, some damage in tire wear. For Thurston and Cannon, contact with each other. Now, all of a sudden, it's Tom Wetmore going head-to-head with John DeBarro, and Sam Nieto's keeping their pace. Top 10 for the large part. Otherwise, has settled in pretty firmly. Jacob Fife going at it with Joe Yakes. Yakes goes high. Fife will block him there and take the spot. That gives Blake Cannon a shot to maybe gain. Thurston has gotten up to 8th and is getting closer and closer to Ethan Lane. A reminder, we have only seen one-time winners, if not Lane or Thurston so far this season. Tom Wetmore would be able to break that chain if he wins tonight. He just took the lead from John DeBarro. Again, not a surprise. Qualified 4th, and the Tube Tech Chevrolet is on top with 86 laps to go. More than enough time, however, for this man to reel it back in. Not a second to waste if you're James Thurston on this stint. But with the advantage on pit row that he found to be so important, he's got enough in terms of helping himself on the green flag runs to make pit stops a little bit faster. During caution, not nearly as easy to get an edge from it. But James has that experience that is going to get him up there when need be. Thurston now up to 6th. He's coming after Ethan Lane, who again is on some of the oldest rubber in the field. He's been in a more conservative approach, expecting to see more trouble later on. He's got a prediction that favors his outcome in the future. We'll see how it plays out. 83 laps to go. James Thurston is still ahead of Thurston. Of course, Ethan Lane. Trevor Trago, he's 9th. Zach Schrinton on P10. Life is going up there on Blake Cannon. Vice versa, it's really Blake Cannon getting to the inside on Fife. Jacob tries to work with momentum, but I don't believe it's going to be enough. Caution's out. As the yellow flag flies, we have trouble again. Looking to see who was involved. Matthew Cornell's got damage. Here's a look at what happened. .82 laps to go, and the 88, among others, slowed down, but it wasn't for Cornell, it was for Ryan Potter. Yellow flag for the Ryan Potter team. He was there with Randy Fiash. Fiash with a nudge. And Potter hit and spun. Two-car incident. Yellow flag flies. 1 lap down for Ryan Potter as he heads down to pit road. 80 laps to go. Tom Wetmore, still your leader. Let's see now if drivers decide to go to pit road. It looks like Thurston opting to stay out. Ethan Lane be one of the first off of pit road. DeBarro's the winner off pit road with Cody Smith, Sam Nieto, Brad Patton, and Trevor Trago next. Blake Cannon not too far behind, a few spots. James Thurston opts to go for track position. He will go head-to-head now with Tom Wetmore. Little bit of a disadvantage if you are number 51. .79 laps to go. Tom Wetmore has run great as of late. But it's going to be especially exciting now to see what happens. He has to go against one of the best. That, of course, is James Thurston. Thurston has gotten away from Cannon and Lane alike. Blake Cannon is still an interesting watch, though. Say, for instance, we have ourselves a 60-plus lap run. He's expected to be the fastest driver, as he was in that first stretch. .44 right now, lines up 20th according to timing and scoring. Ethan Lane in 6th. They watch now with newer rubber as James Thurston goes head-to-head with Tom Wetmore. A multi-time winner at this very track in this very series goes toe-to-toe with the rookie. Green flag's out. James Thurston on his way. Lane shoots low. It's a minefield of drivers. Caution expected. Up the track goes Joe Yakes. The 87 gets rocked. And there's the yellow flag. Playoff driver Joe Yakes gonna fall under the cut line if he can't afford to replace this and repair it. He's got bodywork damage for certain. Lucky if he doesn't have any on the suspension. Perhaps the most notable caution of the day, coming with 76 to go. Watch this. Yakes tries to avoid damage, but the back end of the car catches. And unfortunately for him, An unavoidable fate. Minor damage, yes, but definite bodywork problems. He'll have to head to pit road to settle everything. 75 laps to go with Tom Wetmore leading. It'll be closer to 70 laps remaining. We get back to business. But time running out. Thurston and DeBarro, second and third, gain a little bit more on that old rubber. Ethan Lane made big moves fast, shooting up into the top 5 and comfortably slotting himself among the best of the best. What's interesting to see, of course, is what Blake Cannon can do. Still 18th place. He comes across the start-finish line here. DJ Stagner going by the start-finish as well. Not the best of nights for the Stagner crew. 25th qualifier. 17th in race pace. He's now behind one of the playoff guys in David Davis. The field gets ready again. Go racing with 72 laps left, 1 to green as they cross the start-finish. Biggest mover of the night, Brad Patton, as he often is, going 26th up to 8th and putting together 18 places. .73 laps to go, becomes 72. Patton still eyeing his first win of the season, and for him, it'll be enough to lock into the playoff picture. Double file. Wetmore with the launch. James Thurston right there with it, side by side into the opening corner. Watch the midfield. Everyone survives the opening corners, but it's 3 wide now. Blake Cannon in the middle. He'll get away. Starting to see a little bit more aggression out of the field. Something that perhaps never fully got developed last week. James Thurston gets put back as John Navarro now has a shot to the inside. It's 4 drivers, 2 by 2. 1 spins, back of the field. We got multiple around, cautions out. David Davis, one of them, and Eric McFarland. Another set of playoff guys fighting in the bubble. They went 3 wide. Davis up the track, collects Joe Yates again. Horrible for him as Kevin Matz also has to scrape through. Yellow flags out, with Yates getting significant left front damage. Watch this. Yates ricochets to the top of the wall. He, Bobby Keith, Eric McFarland as well. Matthew Cornell gets away, but Eli Cars does not seem to be involved in this one. Yellow flag is out, 69 laps to go. And the field will get itself collected again. Back-to-back cautions for the first time tonight. And slowly but surely, gone from a calm short track day to a lot more aggression. Tom Wetmore getting a great start, and big one for John DeBarro. DeBarro, again, is what he needs to be right now. One of the best, pushing to the limit, and fighting to keep himself there. While he's already locked into the playoffs, of course, the conversation remains between he and Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck, an undeniable force this season, not with us for this race. What that means, of course, is DeBarro has a lot of points he can make up, and more than that, he can lock himself in and put a statement race down without one of his closest rivals anywhere near him. DeBarro head of Thurston. Didn't get the best of launches. He'll line up on the inside here, looking for a victory that by all means will reinvigorate this team. Approaching 7 wins. Lane on his best pace through 20 races this season is on, looking for his 11th. Tom Wetmore set to get the launch. Here we go again. 66 laps to go. Final stretch. Drivers from this point on can make it to the finish without a pit stop. Green flag in the air, and Blake Cannon takes it nearly 4 wide downstairs. He'll head to the basement of the circuit. Robert Richardson nearly with a hook up there from Alex Kim. But Cannon with big passes early. He knows the assignment. He understands it. And Wetmore leads again. John DeBarro and James Thurston right behind. DeBarro tucks in. James Thurston trying to keep Wetmore out of this one. Taking him up high. Keeping himself to the bottom. But look at this. Ethan Lane down low, looking for that pass on Thurston. James can't close the door. He's not quick enough. He'll look for the run out the corner, but it won't be enough either. Ethan Lane to the inside on James Thurston. And perhaps without a caution, Lane's got the pace and the tire. He'll get ahead of the number 3. Sam Nieto now waits to sweep him up in the podium. Tom Wetmore watching. Multiple cars battling here. Joe Yates going to disconnect for the night after multiple incidents. Jacob Fife goes high. Hard to block them all. Brad Patton's on the middle. Can't do much with that. Nicholas Ward, teammate for Wetmore, gets down to the inside and way low. But it looks like Tom is now very much having pace troubles. It's going to be his teammate Ward who takes order. He'll take control, as a matter of fact, as Nicholas Ward sees Jacob Fife go up high. Can't do much about it. John DeBarro has gotten more than a second out of himself versus Ethan Lane. The question is if that holds, and by the numbers, there's a possibility it does. But that possibility has been difficult to bet on so far this race. Thurston is the only driver in the top 10 with 30-lap-old tires. He's hedging his bets on a caution. A caution that I'm not sure would be the biggest benefactor would be him. I don't think it would be, given how little we have left in this race. Either it would be only him going down to pit road and he would fall all the way back, or everyone would go in and all the losses in position he's had, well, they're going to still exist. There's not much you can do with them. Blake Cannon getting to the inside. And a quick pass for the 44. Thurston, without a doubt, dropping back now, and he's going to need a miracle to keep that number 3 team alive. John DeBarro in the hot seat with Ethan Lane chasing. 58 laps to go. Lane has played it out very well in terms of strategy. Perhaps not the inevitable call to see him finally up here. But with all the cautions we've seen, and all the way it's shaken out, driver 84 has come away the best of it. Hannon has gotten by, and in fact, Thurston's now out of the top 10. Zach Schrintel and Trevor Trago looking to seal the deal on that matter. Thurston down low. DJ Stagner now coming up on him, and this is the indicator that right now, the 3 team is just not where it needs to be. 22.5 that time by 0.4 of a second slower. Leader John DeBarro. Speaking of, John DeBarro looks more than fit enough to keep Ethan Lane at bay. The gap between them has not closed a bit as you take a look from the backside. This may well be the best run of John DeBarro's career. If, of course, he can seal the deal and finish it off with laps winding down, all eyes are at him for a maiden victory well anticipated for now more than a year and a half. Ethan Lane has kept him close, but hasn't particularly pulled him in. Sam Nieto has also kept a firm, solid distance on Ethan Lane. Not much of change between them right there. But DeBarro is going to be the story of the night if he can figure it out and finish it off. Already locked into the playoffs and looking to shock this field with another first-time winner on the 2026 schedule. Blake Cannon to the inside on Jacob Fife. This would be for 6th if he can stick it. As a matter of fact, he could go for 2 with Cody Smith ahead, elevate himself into the top 5. Cannon has gotten a really good look on the inside multiple laps consecutive. Rotors are glowing, and that perhaps is the coolest thing about racing at a circuit like Richmond in the nighttime. You don't see that effect nearly as much in the day, but pay attention to how these drivers glide into turn 3. The orange rotors amid the tires. That shows you how much work and how much heat is being generated by these tires. The brakes are being used up, heat is being dissipated, makes it a little bit harder to handle after a long-term run. Conditions on the track have slightly cooled down over the course of the race from a high of 95 back down to 92 Fahrenheit. As expected, hasn't come down all the way, but it has come down just enough to slowly benefit these drivers as they ease into the final laps of this race. Cody Smith still keeping Cannon at bay, but Blake poised to go for 2 consecutive top 5s if he can just get by the 18. 2 consecutive top 5s on his return. Thurston's down to 14th. One of his worst runs this season. Now the pressure's really on for John DeBarro. Remember last time Ethan Lane came up through the field, he couldn't actually get by James Thurston under green. Surprising part is yellow flag. Yellow flag is out once again. We have trouble. And a race-changing caution once more. The field paces. Setting itself up again. And it appears perhaps Bobby Keith, one of those involved with some position losses. We'll play it back and show you what happened. If we can get a read on anything here. Joe Yates the last to disconnect. So it appears not much else of note on the circuit. cautions out. DJ Stagner falling back to 22nd. Here's a look at him. Got our eyes peeled in the formerly 12th place driver. Running up there with Robert Richardson. Got a nudge and shoots up the track and slides out. Right in front of James Thurston. Thurston lucky to escape. That's the caution with 44 to go. And not only is Thurston lucky to escape, he's lucky to get this yellow. He is anticipating a fast drop to pit road. One he's already gotten through with. Brad Patton leads the way with Trevor Trago as his backup as a holdout. As it stands, very few choose to stay out. Only 5. Patton, Trago, Richardson, Brock Potter, and David Davis. Ethan Lane lines up 7th. Blake Cannon 9th. James Thurston gains 1 spot, 13th. Now, while both Cannon and Lane are going to lose spots again, they have track position with respect to those on new tire. Coming now, the 1 to green marker. Wanted Goons is the front row. It's a 2-car team affair. Something we haven't seen out of this team all season long. Special moment for these two. They can capitalize on it. A lot of eyes and pressure are on John DeBarro. The DraftKings 61 is really hoping to get himself up there for a maiden win. And he's had a hell of a night so far. He kept Ethan Lane at bay. And I think now, if there's going to be any week he does it, it may well be this one. 1 to green this time by. Stagner given the end-of-line penalty as a result of the cause of caution. David Davis, one of the playoff bubble drivers, is in a great spot. Only outclassed slightly by a man right on the cut line, and Brock Potter, who runs 3rd. 16 drivers make it on to the chase. Those lined up in green, those are the guys who have themselves a position, tentatively. Only if they are locked in will they be making it into the playoffs no matter what. Those without the locked-in designation still have to fight for it. Multiple of those drivers, including leader Brad Patton, get this one started. Green flags out again. Look who went low. Lane, Cannon, and James Thurston. And they're already together on the inside. Thurston's going to be the last of which. He'll try to work with David Davis here, but Davis sees Ward go up the track. We've got trouble. 97 round. Nicholas Ward. Kevin Matz as well. Caution will fly. That one was bubbling all throughout the course of this run. Well, it was only a lap, so go figure. Watch this. Ward, touched by Schrinthal, shot up the track, side by side, and he gets in the wall. Next was Brock Potter, who slid around and got lucky with minimal damage. Bobby Keith got plowed on the front end. Eric McFarland goes down and in with minimal damage. Kevin Matz more the same. I'd say that it was Bobby Keith with the worst amount of damage. But Ryan Potter, Bobby Keith involved, Kevin Matz, multiple guys right on the bubble, losing spots and getting big damage late in the going. He'll have to come down to pit road, as does Cody Smith. Matthew Cornell with him. Kent Wetherill stays out, but not everyone in this lineup chooses to do so. David Davis and Robert Richardson also drop. Lane is in 4th, Cannon is in 5th, Thurston is in 7th. Gap between those three is tightened up again. And Thurston was not far from that wreck. Brad Patton and Trevor Trago did what they had to do. Really, little else they could have over the course of that one-lap stint. John DeBarro was able to jump up some spots. He's in third, as Schrintenol gets the end-of-line penalty and is deemed at fault for the caution. Not particularly surprised that DeBarro, one of the biggest movers on that quick run, he's got confidence now. And luckily, he was able to move out of David Davis and company. Had he gotten around and had, of course, only a few seconds to have done so, had he not done it quick enough, he would have had himself caution and perhaps big damage. Patton to lead, Trago alongside. On the lead lap are 22 drivers, more than the 19 we had after the lap 70 pit cycle, even though we have lost 2 more drivers in Austin Cardules and Joe Yakes. 25 are within 2 laps, Eli Cars, Kent Weatherell, Randy Fiash, the last of which not on the lead lap. Brad Patton with a hell of a launch. That's what he'll need with 34 laps to go. Watch for Lane, Cannon, and Thurston. They're all together, and now they're going at it again on the bottom side. Way down low are Cannon and Thurston. Ethan Lane forced up high, going to have to give himself a little room and a little less pace out of the corner. John DeBarro! Cannon into Thurston! The glass slipper breaks, and the juggernauts get destroyed. It's a parking lot still. Cannon, Keith, Smith, Trago, Davis, and Eli Cars, just to name a few. John DeBarro gets away largely scot-free, but take a look at this. Yellow flag for mayhem in 1 and 2. It starts there. Watch this. DeBarro gets the launch. Looks low. Gets to the inside of Brad Patton. Doesn't work out there. Shifts up into Cannon and into Ethan Lane. Now this is where things get bad. Inadvertent as it was, that contact sends around multiple others. Sam Nieto, Trevor Trago, Jacob Fife, Nicholas Ward clearly gets a hit on it. Thurston gets away, keep that in mind. DJ Stagner, Robert Richardson, Kevin Matt slows down. And more pile in. David Davis, Cody Smith, Zach Schrintenol, Eli Cars, Bobby Keith, and a standstill. Ethan Lane gets away with minimal damage, as does Cannon. But both the 44 and the 84 knocked away. Watch that from the perspective of James Thurston, who just saw his 2 biggest rivals again fall back. Not only fall back, but fall back with damage as he avoids one of the biggest wrecks this league has seen at Richmond. The biggest ever was 3 years ago in the Ignite series, but that one, with it being so late in the game, comes close in terms of magnitude. That has a lot of importance as to who's going to win this one. Patton gets away. Teammate Trevor Trago doesn't get so lucky. Here we go again. 30 to go. Ethan Lane is now, as he comes across the time and scoring line, registered in the 15th position. Blake Cannon is coming through here. He is 23rd right now. Don't believe fault will be assigned to anyone there. It's difficult to give fault to John Nabarro, just minor twitches all the way through. Brad Patton will get the roll off first, and he's done a fantastic job with it so far. Now, without his teammate, he'll be all alone out there, and he'll be taken 3 wide. Down to the inside goes James Thurston. He sees the opportunity. He will take it. Thurston to the lead. Tom Wetmore, multi-time winner here. Don't forget about him. He's not too far back. John DeBarro somehow getting away from his own incident there. Oh, Kent Wetherell down to the inside, and he is way slow. Puttering on the track. No trouble, no caution. We'll stay green. But it's all Thurston. All the way ahead now as we get back to business. John DeBarro gets ahead of Patton. Brad is slower. He'll be taking 3 with Alex Kim to the inside. Tom Wetmore on the outside of it. Alex Kim. We haven't talked about him being in the podium all day long. Doesn't mean there isn't enough time nor enough room to do it. He's looking great right now, head-to-head with Tom Wetmore, and he's on the inside. He's got it locked down there. And best yet, he looks a little quicker. Sam Nieto just ahead now of Nicholas Ward. Jacob Fife, Robert Richardson, and Ryan Potter clear out the top 10. And yes, that is Ryan Potter with 26 laps to go, still inside the top 10. Maybe, just maybe, on a night he's been running outside the top 20 all race long, it's the early struggles that finally give him the clearance to succeed at the end of it. Patton is washed out of the leading battle, giving Thurston full authority. Ethan Lane has gotten up to 11th. He's got a ways to go, and he's going to have to make it 24 perfect laps to even have a chance at Thurston. Likewise, Blake Cannon. He's got to do a lot more if he wants to get back up in even the top 10. 15th. And heartbreak for this crew, who have been on it all night. And had things played out fully under green, I'd be hard-pressed to say he wasn't the favorite. I think, in all honesty, he very well was. But unfortunately for him, things haven't panned out the way he would have liked in that regard. 23 laps to go, and from Richmond Raceway, it's about time we crank it up with our friends from the virtual Whiplash SimCams team. iRacing's best angles all across the virtual sim racing world. Whether it's stock car racing, open wheel racing in the Americas, or international, Whiplash SimCams has the most up-to-date iRacing camera experience, broadcast TV level, no matter what. Thanks once again to the Whiplash Media team for their continued support of the FTN Broadcasting channel. With 21 laps to go, the heat is on in the final 3 races of the regular season. Why not crank it up? Let's get live and loud from the virtual Richmond Raceway. 20 laps remaining. James Thurston still in control. Big hit, Nicholas Ward, Jacob Fife, that's a caution! You saw it on board. Here's a look again. Yellow flags out with less than 20 to go. Sam Nieto got loose ahead of Nicholas Ward. Fife slid out, but it began with Nieto losing it out of 4, and Ward had no time to get into that without it being a wreck. Take a look from up high, and simply put, he jammed on the brakes. Nieto tried to lock it down. Ward, presumably with no clue of that, went right up into him. Horrible for Sam, the pole sitter who again got this race started with immense pace. Stayed in the top 5 fight from beginning to near end. He now finds himself wrecked to an extent. 15 to go. Ethan Lane is in 13th, going for pit stop. His last of the night as expected to be. Is it going to be enough? I cannot imagine that even 12 perfect laps with some 10 to 15 drivers ahead of him, it'll be possible for him to make it. Make it up to Thurston anyway. Without a caution, I don't know if it'll be anywhere in the realm of possibility. Two by two all the way down. It's Thurston and DeBarro in control with 12 to do it. Alex Kim, by the way, as he stands on this podium, is looking for his best short track run of the season. Let's see now what he can do with it. Thurston gets away by a long shot. He's got 12 laps to go now. 3 wide further back with DJ Stagner, Randy Fiash and company. Zach Schrintenol and Blake Cannon right up there as knocked down a line is Brad Patton. He'll straighten himself out. But that is a hard charge from the 9 crew. And unfortunately for him, he gets the wind knocked out his sails. Oh, Ryan Potter goes around. And then Schrintenol slides. Yellow back on the circuit. Caution is out. Take a look at this. After a contact, brief one, with Brad Patton, Schrintenol gets into Potter, and Potter ends up turning Zach Schrintenol inadvertently. One more look from upstairs, as the second half of this race has been dominated by cautions. Gives Alex Kim a shot in second here. First knock was from Schrintenol, and then Potter gets Zach at the worst possible spot. It sends it back around. Sam Nieto was given the end-of-line penalty for the last caution. And with 9 to go, Schrintenol will be at the tail end no matter what. James Thurston, Alex Kim. They're now first and second. If there's anyone who could play spoiler, shades of last year, it could be Tom Wetmore with the help of teammate Blake Cannon. Cannon now rides fifth. Tom Wetmore's in third, which means that they very likely will be lining up together on the inside if they so choose, but regardless of line, they should be together again. Last year was that togetherness that got Tom Wetmore ahead of a hard-charging Ethan Lane and Nick Tarbuck to win big. Now, everything's lining up again to go head-to-head with the three. And while Cannon, to a further extent as of late, Ethan Lane has fallen back, it does look like it's possible for someone to spoil Thurston's party. Lane is in 24th. He'll have 6 laps to go when we get back at it. He would need to be perfect, without hyperbole now, to even have a chance. Any caution from here will bring out an overtime. James Thurston and Alex Kim are head-to-head for the final battle of the day. Here we go. Thurston gets the launch. Alex Kim behind him. It's already a fight for third place as DJ Stagner cuts low. He'll get to the inside of Brad Patton and his teammate. 6 laps remaining. One nudge up the track for Robert Richardson gives him a whole lot more trouble, as he again is going to be contested by DJ Stagner and Nicholas Ward. Blake Cannon gets a rub there for the 61 of DeBarro. Blake trying to get with his teammate in Wetmore. DeBarro goes high, can't quite make the move. Blake Cannon clears. 4 laps remaining. The 51 Tube Tech Chevrolet is without a doubt where he needs to be. If anything's going to happen ahead, that's the question. Well, Alex Kim will be the one to answer. James Thurston has gotten away, and now he's starting to make his moves toward the checkered flag, planning each and every lap, knowing it could be his last. Alex Kim, moments away from getting the job done himself, just 0.6 the difference. If there's anything left in that 73, he would show it right about now. DJ Stagner trying to get up to John DeBarro as well. And it could be a double top 10 if Ryan Potter puts it back together in this final battle. Jacob Fife, loose, spins up the track. We're going to overtime. Ryan Potter never catches a break. And it's living proof again as Jacob Fife spins around, and here we have trouble. Fife got loose out of 4, went up the track, hits the 99. Yellow flag flies for our first green-white checkered attempt. Wow. Just as we mentioned, Potter could perhaps be en route for an elusive top 10. Slammed. He's got clear damage now. The field puts itself back together. 24 on the lead lap. Kent Wetherell, the only driver still with us who is not in that classification. Ethan Lane has gotten up into 12th. He has cut half the distance that he has to win, where he was in 24th place. Now, Blake Cannon is in 4th. Tom Wetmore's in third. They're both remarkably close. Of course, closest of all is Alex Kim, but he doesn't seem to be nearly as close in terms of pace. And that's the big issue. James Thurston looking 2 laps away from his 7th win of the season. 2-lap shootout. Until, of course, or if we get a caution. A caution will continue to occur and extend the race until our 3rd attempt, if we have to get to that point. The difficulty is whether or not we get to that white flag. For James Thurston, very likely won't be that difficult, but we've seen it from just about everyone else. Yellow flag after yellow flag. The hornet's nest in the midfield, where all the excitement is. Alex Kim looking to break through for his 2nd win of the season. Lines up on the outside. 2 teammates make up your 2nd row. John DeBarro looking for a miraculous 1st win, leading with less than 50 laps to go. He has fallen behind in a 5th. DJ Stagner now is the only one of his teammates up in the front of the fight. And for the first overtime at Richmond, it's all Thurston off the launch. Watch the field, though. It's anyone's race with 2 laps to go. Carry 3 wide, DJ Stagner up high on Trago and Robert Richardson. Alex Kim takes 2nd, but he can't quite hold on. Tom Wetmore low, coming to the white flag. 1 lap remaining. Wetmore just gets away from Alex Kim. 1 position away from repeating at the track he's won at twice before. For James Thurston, it was the caution strategy he needed to get him from all the way in 14th back to the front of the field. Iowa wasn't his, Richmond will be. Win number 7 on the season for James Thurston. Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport takes the checkered flag in Virginia. Tom Wetmore and Blake Cannon. Double podium for the Roadhouse Brigade. He won here last year. He'll settle for 2nd, while Cannon survives with his 2nd straight 3rd place performance. And already, quick to burn it down is winning man Thurston. James Thurston collects his 7th win in 2026, making it all count at Richmond. We'll be right back with our post-race coverage and interviews right after a message from our friends at iRacing.com. Stay tuned. Post-race on FTN. We'll come back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
117 laps red, of course, up in front of the field, leading until the very end. James Thurston takes victory from Richmond over Tom Wetmore in second, and teammate Blake Cannon, P3. Alex Kim has a fantastic performance, but falls just short for fourth position, as DJ Stagner then fifth, Zach Schrintenel sixth, and Brad Patton seventh, with Trevor Trago eighth, Kevin Matz ninth, and then, right after that, the top 10, Sam Nieto, your pole sitter. Immediately following the driver of the 10, you'll have your 11th place finisher, Cody Smith. John Barrow goes 12th with Brock Potter 13th, Randy Fiash 14th, and David Davis P15. Eli Cars, Ethan Lane, Matthew Cornell, Eric McFarland, and Ryan Potter conclude the top 20, with Bobby Keith, Nicholas Ward, Robert Richardson, Kent Wetherell, Jacob Fife, the top 25. Final four drivers on the day: Austin Cardules, Joe Yates, Josh Gallagher, and Don Stevenson at the bottom and the back of the field. It's James Thurston's win and an undoubtable performance. A big recovery for the three team. Second for the past 2 weeks, and a long-awaited win, it feels, for this crew that has come very familiar with winning. And tonight, with all the yellow flags toward the tail end, strategy plays out just right, and they do it again. James Thurston, 7th win on the season, and back at the head of the pack.
Yeah, man. I don't know what happened to my Discord. I can't see anything. Yeah, I'm super happy to win this race, man. I'm kind of speechless, to be honest, because I didn't think about halfway through that it would happen. But yeah, I think we won the mid-season tournament, so that's awesome. I owe you a better interview, so that's what I'm trying to give you right here. And just goodness, man. I'm honestly a bit speechless.
Now, first things first, the in-season tournament, you and Ethan Lane head-to-head for that one, and as we've seen all season long, that's how it's been. He fell on some harder times when it came to strategy, and you talked about it. You were pretty far back. You went down a pit road at lap 92. 30 laps later, you seemed to be in the dumps. Everyone else was way quicker. How did you pull yourself out of that?
I mean, that whole thing I'm glad that I recovered from it. But, I mean, at the same time, I'm kind of upset, to be honest, that I got in that mess, because I shouldn't have been. But, because I kind of threw away, what I had going. But I still recovered it, so we'll talk about it real quick. I mean, the deal with the 44 car, I would like to talk with him about it. He seemed like he was still mad. I know that he had a pretty rough end of his race. I think he still finished pretty decent, but his race got kind of rough there. But I mean, I was just kind of racing, going back and forth with him for the lead, because I was a little bit short on fuel. So I was trying to save a little bit of fuel, and I wasn't blocking or anything or getting in the way to do it. I felt like I was kind of running my own line right there, and eventually he got by me, and then I think he started slowing up some. So I kind of wanted to get by him, because I knew that having the lead at that point was probably going to be what won you the race, because it's very hard to pass long run in these cars, as you know. So I was just kind of battling it out with him a little bit there, and when I would get a run or two, a couple times he swerved at me down the straightaway, and I just don't think that that's a very gentlemanly thing to do at a short track, especially how deep he blocked. So I kind of just thought, okay, I'll just give him a nice little bump into 1 and 2 just to show my displeasure a little bit. And I didn't think it was even that much of a bump, but I guess it was just enough to get him sideways. And, that wasn't what I was going for. So I tried to slow down with him, because, if I had meant to do it, I wouldn't have slowed down. I would have just kept going. But, I mean, I felt bad about it. So, tried to own up to it, went to the back. But, it is what it is. It's, we won. And at the end, the cards fell my way. And yeah.
Now, this win, of course, what the team has been looking for back-to-back weeks out of victory lane beforehand, and you'll end the short track swing with the win, heading toward now New Hampshire. We have 2 races left in the regular season. The goal for you, of course, getting wins. Talladega, the wild card to end it. But before then, we're going to a track that you have dominated at before. I got to wonder, is your expectation to do the same again? It's been a while since we've gone there. The next-gen package is different. But the last time you took this next-gen to New Hampshire, you won by half a lap.
Yeah, that was a while ago now, but yeah, that is a track that has really been good to me. It's a track that just clicks with me. So yeah, the expectation is to do well there, I think. I don't think I have done some races in this car with the current package there. It's a handful, I'll tell you. So that's a track that I really love. You can run a lot of different lines there. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, I think the whole moral here is just I don't give up. You should never give up. It's even when I want to give up, as you know, I just can't.
Well, a night like this, a lot less reason to give up, and the fight continues in Loudon next week. James Thurston, big win for the crew, getting Power Smash back up to victory lane. Any final comments you'd like to send? It's all yours.
Yeah, just thanks to you for broadcasting. And we're just going to keep moving forward, focus forward, and try to keep on adding on the wins here. See if we can beat Ethan.
James Thurston, win number 7 on the season here from Richmond, Virginia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, next up on the ladder is your second place finisher, Tom Wetmore. Not currently available for comment, but that should take just a moment to settle him in. Last season, again, he was a winner here. He's done it before, and he is more than likely a driver that could have given the best of fights to Thurston if we had a longer run. So, with that being said, he's ready right about now. We'll pull him back in. A multi-time winner at this track, coming one spot short tonight. Tom Wetmore, the season has turned around with some better results as of late. Back on the podium here from Richmond.
Yeah, it's good to be back. One spot short of where we wanted to be tonight, but just not able to climb to that top step just yet here at Richmond. So had a chance to win here before, but tonight wasn't the night for that. So we burned up the tires early and made some mistakes there. So then we got ourselves caught with some pit strategy with our pants down and had to make an aggressive tire call, which had us leading about 30 laps, and then that didn't pan out and sent us all the way to the tail. So back to front, but we were able to take the Tube Tech 51 and park it close enough. We can see the top step, and I can look across the way and see my teammate, Roadhouse guy, Blake Cannon there, and we're both there. We just a spot or two short tonight.
Now, you talk about that second and third, you and Blake. It looked like at the very end you guys were coming together on strategy. Was there any team talk to get you guys in that position?
Yeah, not so much because we were separated a little bit. Blake got involved in an accident there running up front. Looks like some guys maybe just being aggressive, trying to get maybe their first win of the season and trying to make some moves. And unfortunately, some cars collided. Blake and a few others that were up front got involved. I know Sam Nieto got involved. Just luck of the Irish not benefiting him tonight. But we just kind of wrapped the bottom. And all the accidents happened up high. And we're fortunate enough to put ourselves in a position to be close enough there. And then Alex and I got to battling, and I cleared myself up on him into the fence. So hate that for Alex and his team. Sorry to him. That was silly on my part. But end of the race follies got us a P2 tonight. But the Roadhouse 51, quarter panel always shouting out Rowdy forever. But certainly liked watching that guy growing up. And Vex Visions was able to put together a paint scheme for us really quickly this season. So if you guys are looking for a paint scheme, highly recommend hitting up Vex Visions. That's Eric McFarland, or Vex Techie if you want to follow him on social media. Puts together all these race cars for us, has us looking good. And tonight, with some of the crashes ending up high, that protection of Robin Steele's attorneys at law kept this car in one piece with a 0x on the night. So can't ask for more than that coming out of a short track.
Now, right after the short track swing, 2 more of these regular season races, the first of which coming at New Hampshire. What's the game plan of the Magic Mile?
Yeah, Magic Mile is tough. There's some really fun lanes that you can do there. We saw it last year with Ethan Lane leading a lot of laps at New Hampshire with a little bit of an unorthodox approach, especially into turn 1. So we'll have to see how this tire model reacts to that next week and see if we can accomplish something like that. or if it's going to end up a race like tonight where we have a really long green flag run, the strategies separate, and maybe we have some different tire calls up front that cause a little bit of chaos like we had at the end here tonight. So a lot of fun, almost 100, I think 100 green flag laps, but then mired with some cautions at the end, a little bit different than the green flag to flag coverage we had last week. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun, but we'll only catch it here on FTN, won't we, Dave?
No doubt about that. 2 races left in the regular season and great runs for the 51 crew again and again. Second here tonight. Any final shout outs you'd like to send? The floor is yours.
Oh, just love seeing these Vex these Vex Visions paint schemes run up front. Second, third, and fourth. I mean, we're holding down about as far up north as we can, but some of the Roadhouse guys tonight didn't have the same luck. I know I'm really happy to see that Eric was able to get himself back up inside the top 20 there, had an incident early, and picked up a lot of spots with some incidents there at the end. Nick Ward, not quite as lucky, our new addition to Roadhouse, ran up front early, finishes P22 on a brand new set of pedals trying to improve his equipment. So love to see these guys come together. Love to see it here on FTN, and wouldn't do it with anybody else in the Integrity Racing League. Thanks, Dave.
Double podium for the team, led by the 51, Tom Wetmore, P2 here today. Thank you for your time. And just as he was with us last week in the same spot, he's with us here today. It's third place finisher Blake Cannon, who went up and down the ladder all night long, be it some incidents early on, a lot of green flag pace, and a lot of incidents late to avoid. The 44 team has found a way back to the podium steps. It was a roller coaster of a night, though.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's an understatement. I mean, I would like to know how many cars I actually passed tonight. So decided to start in the back with Ethan, make it a little interesting. 2 weeks in a row, I've had the fastest car on the first green flag run, so that makes me feel good. And then made the right decision by staying out a little late on the first run, didn't get caught by the caution, and then was really, in prime position that second run. And, James said I swerved at him and stuff, but I mean, I think defending a line is pretty reasonable on a short track, especially short runs. So got turned around, unfortunate. Had to go to the back again. So I think I ended up going to the back like 5 times tonight. So, just thankful I was ending up on the top 3 again.
Now, when we talk about this race, the yellow flags in the second half, the big differentiator, saw a lot of strategy changes there, and you seem to be one of the best guys in the long run. So how did you shift your approach to make these short runs work better for this team?
I mean, I really didn't have a whole lot of pace on short runs. It took about 10, 15 laps for my car to really come to me. And then really, if we could have ever got 50 laps and 40, 50 laps, I felt really, really good. So, I knew after practice I wasn't going to have the short run pace if we had, back-to-back cautions. So luckily I was able to just maneuver around some of them guys on the late restarts, kind of outbreak them in the braking points, put them in a bad aero position, and, really capitalize on their mistakes. So, I just hate, I was in position quite a few times up front, and every time I'd get up there, something would happen. So, fortunate enough to get a top 3, just took a break for a while, and I'm just getting back on and having a good time. So, I guess I can't complain too much when the 2 weeks in a row I got a top 3.
Now, this stretch of tracks, you said you're a big fan of the ones coming up. Now, of course, last before Talladega, New Hampshire. 3, well, we've seen you, P3, twice in a row now. Can we see that stretch for 3 straight races, or do you see yourself going even higher next week?
I hope so. I mean, I felt really good tonight. I really felt like if things would have went in my favor, should have maybe won. I don't. It's hard to say. I think Ethan was good. Um, I don't think the fastest car won tonight. I think James was good for sure, no doubt. But I think it was going to be between me and Ethan there at the end. And so I felt good tonight. Felt good last week. Just got off on strategy. So I really enjoy New Hampshire. I'm going to go in with the same approach as these first 2 weeks, and I hope I can get another solid top 3. And if things go my way, hopefully a win. I felt like I was in prime position last year to get a win and got wrecked late. So I should be pretty good. Just got to make sure we hit on all cylinders and don't get caught up in strategy.
Just another chance to get it back to the podium and better next week in New Hampshire. And the last 2 weeks have looked very solid. Third and third at Iowa and Richmond. Blake Cannon. Well, any final shout-outs? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to shout out my teammate Tom. I mean, hell of a run by him, and getting two Roadhouse cars on the podium, that's always a good thing. So I miss racing with these guys, and it's been a lot of fun here the last couple weeks. So yeah, that's my biggest thing. If I can just keep having fun, I'll keep doing it. But once I stop having fun, I think I just take a break for a little while and then come back again. So congrats to him. Shout out to all the Roadhouse guys. I know Nicholas had a lot of pace tonight. Just unfortunate into his race. And then Eric, always has the baddest looking car on track. So shout out to all them guys. Shout out to you for the broadcast. It's very much appreciated. And everybody at Integrity Racing League, all the admins, all the guys racing. I think we had a really good race going. I think it, got a little rough there at the end, but hats off for the first run. We went 75 green flag laps, so can't say much about that. Hopefully, we have another long green flag run next week.
Third place on the day, Richmond Raceway sees the 44 team get back to the podium for another strong night at the short tracks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
Cannon on the way. It's two podium sitters for the Roadhouse crew. It's Blake Cannon third and Tom Wetmore in second. But again, for the seventh time this season, James Thurston finds a way to victory lane. And the gap between he and Ethan Lane for wins now stands at only 3. Their battle will continue next week as we go racing once again for the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we can't wait to see you there. The championship lineup coming into this race, you'll see it here, a lot of big moves. Notably, Alex Kim, he keeps making starts, he keeps locking himself further in. It was a great run for Brad Patton, 7th place. He should be above the cut line after this one, and he's going to get a big advantage over a driver like a David Davis or a Joe Yakes. Yakes retiring early, meaning we're going to see some swaps come next week at the Magic Mile. New Hampshire Motor Speedway is our next destination, so if you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, of course, not only for this content, but for our Saturday night broadcasting. We are expecting Saturday Night Thunder to return next week as the Universal iRacing Series goes back to Precision Broadcasting to end their season, and the NASCAR Gen 4 Cup Series returns next Saturday. Keep an eye out for them. They'll begin another season at Daytona. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to James Thurston on collecting a big victory, getting the job done, and securing his 7th of the season. We hope you all have a fantastic night.